All right, the kids might be heading back to school, but today we're going to provide you with the pop quiz. We're going to test your retirement planning knowledge today and find out how well you do on this pop quiz. Welcome into Perfect Game Retirement. Ben George with Ryan Ledden of Black Oak Asset Management. He's a certified financial planner, also a former teacher as well. Ryan, we're putting your teaching skills to the test today, but also I'm curious, did you ever like to spring the pop quizzes on your kids when you were teaching?
I try not to do too much of it because I had seniors in high school, so they can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So I wasn't trying to make their life too miserable being seniors. Now the class I taught economics, so the class was required. So they had to end a course test. So I can at least hold that over their head, like, hey, you got to get past me before you get that certificate. But so I didn't really pepper them with pop quizzes too much.
I love that. Well, we got one for you today. Again, we got 5 questions. What we'll do is we'll throw the question up for you. We'll share the multiple choice answers with you, and then we'll give you the answer and let Ryan talk about that a little bit more and maybe actually teach you a little bit along the way today. If you have questions for Ryan about what we talk about today or just want to begin your planning process, you can go to speakwithryan.com. You can also learn more about Black Oak Asset Management by going to blackoakam.com. All right. So our first question, Dave, let's jump in. We're going to start with Social Security. Ryan, I know a topic that you're pretty passionate about, but here's the question. What age can you receive full Social Security benefits if you were born after 1960? Is it 59 and a half, 62, 65, or 67? Ryan, what's our answer?
So the key of that question is the year 1960, so that answer could differ, but born after 1960, that's where, being as a former teacher, I used to tell my students, read the whole question. Make sure you read it to the very, very end. So yeah, the answer on this one is D. It is age 67. So that's what the Social Security Administration calls the FRA, or full retirement age. That is an age in which you can still earn an income, still have a paycheck, and then claim Social Security, and there's no reduction in your benefit. Because if you claim it before your full retirement age, one, you're claiming it earlier, so there is a little bit of of actuarial change, which it comes down. But then if you make certain income thresholds, depending on what year you're in, but that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But it will adjust down if you make a certain income. So that's where I tell a lot of times my clients is, it's not necessarily just about what age. It's, are you still working? Do you have an income? Because it's going to reduce even more if you do have a certain income. But at 67, you can make whatever income you desire or can make, and you will not get any reduction in benefit of your FRA or your full retirement age and Social Security benefit. So 67 is the FRA for anyone born 1960 or after.
All right, very good. Number 2 here then. What is the maximum annual contribution limit for a traditional or Roth IRA for individuals aged 50 and older in 2025? Is it $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, or $9,000? Ryan, what's our answer here?
So same thing, read the whole question, read the entire question, because there's some caveats there. So the key there is age 50. And then obviously in this current year that we're in, as we're recording this, so if you watch this a few years later, obviously that this number could be a little bit different, but C is the answer, 8,000. Some of you may think, 7,000, but that's anyone who is 49 or younger. That is the maximum you can do, but there is an extra $1,000 catch up, at least in this year, which it may gravitate up a little bit more because it's supposed to be based off cost of living. But right now it's an extra $1,000 that you can do. So if you turn 50, even if you turn 50 on December 31st of the year that you turn 50, you can do the extra catch-up contribution within that calendar year. So 8,000 is the correct answer for a traditional or a Roth. You can't exceed that dollar amount in contributions.
And this is a great opportunity, right? If you are 50 or older to put a little bit more away as you try to save and reach those goals for retirement.
That's right. And then that includes even 401ks. There's even extra catch-up contributions that you can do there. Even at the age of 60, there's even additional catch-up contributions there. So just being aware of those things, because they can sneak up on you. That's our job as advisors, to help our clients remember stuff like that. But as you're getting close to that retirement age, the government allows you to put more money in.
All right, very good. Hopefully you're 2 for 2 so far. Here's question number 3 about RMDs. Which type of retirement account requires you to take required minimum distributions, or RMDs as they're called? A brokerage account, 401k, HSA, health savings account, or the Roth 401k? All right, Ryan, school us on this one.
A little tricky question here. And it's kind of one of those it depends questions, but it is the 401k. So the 401k, there's some, I'm still working at the age of 73. So yes, if you are still working and you have a current 401k and you are not larger than a 5% owner of that company, you can delay your RMDs if that money is in the 401k and you are still employed, and again, not larger than a 5% owner. Now, if it's just an old 401k and you're retired, yes, money has to come out of that. So that's one thing we like to tell our clients is if you're 73 and still working and you have outside IRAs, we'll put them in your current 401k. And that way it prevents you from having to take required minimum distributions. If you're still working, you meet those certain rules. So in general, the 401k is you have to take required minimum distributions if you are not currently employed. But if you are employed, which the question didn't say that they're currently employed, but if you are, you can delay those suckers as long as you're still fully employed.
Yeah, we're not necessarily trying to trick you with these questions, but it does go to show you that having a certified financial planner helping you out along the way can help you with all these little small details that you might overlook if you're trying to plan on your own. So again, if you want to get in touch with Ryan to talk about some of these things or figure out your RMD plan, you can go to speakwithryan.com to book a time with him directly right there on his calendar. All right, got a couple more questions. Here's number 4. What does the 4% rule refer to in retirement planning? Is it the maximum percentage you can contribute to a 401k? Is it a tax on high income retirees? A suggested annual withdrawal rate from your retirement portfolio? Or is it the penalty for early withdrawal from a Roth IRA? 4% does seem like it would make sense on most of these, Ryan. So what's the right answer?
Yeah, it's C. It's basically a suggested annual withdrawal rate on your nest egg of money that you have in your accounts. Again, 4% rule has been around for a while. We've done some radio shows, and I know we've done previous podcasts on the 4% rule, what it actually means. It's taking. Again, let's use easy numbers. You got $1 million, and you can take $40,000 out per year because that's 4% of $1 million. So $40,000 is kind of the quote unquote safe income you can take out and not have to worry too much about running out of money. Now, there's been studies since that start kind of poking holes, there's been poking holes in this for a long time, but they're saying now that you can take out potentially more. And a lot just depends. I don't like hard, fast rules for everybody. Because again, it depends on what your Social Security benefits are. If you got you and a spouse, depends on what your monthly income needs need to be, and then it depends on your age and longevity. I mean, if you don't retire till later and you have a shorter window of retirement, well, then you can probably take out more. But again, that's all part of the planning process and figuring out what that exact number, what that exact percentage really is for you. So it's different for everyone, but yeah, it is a suggested withdrawal rate.
Yeah, definitely something you want to work with a financial professional on to figure out to make sure you get that right. All right, brings us to our last question today. Here it is. What is a financial risk many retirees face? Is it outliving their money, paying too much in taxes, miscalculating healthcare costs, being overexposed to risk in the market, or is it all of the above? So Ryan, finish us off here. What's the answer?
That one's teed up. So definitely all the above. And And we talk about that a good bit on our show. It's in my current book that I wrote that anyone can out there can request. But it's basically diffusing the retirement threats, and those 4 mentioned right there are just some of them that we talk about, and trying to get rid of those risks. It's difficult to completely eliminate them, but you can alleviate a lot of those risks that you do have. So outliving your money, that is a definite worry or risk that a lot of people have, because we don't know the end. We don't know those number of days that we have left, and we have to prepare for longevity. So paying too much in taxes. Obviously, we know the tax code, at least for the permanent tax code. So we at least know what the next 4 years are going to be. Now, how permanent that is, it just depends on what the next regime that comes in to potentially change that. But we always want to plan for potentially higher tax rates, so we can do some planning opportunities there. So we're not at the mercy of what politician that we elect in Congress and then in the White House as well. Healthcare costs, obviously, always a wild card factor. We just don't know. And then just being overexposed to the market. If you don't need to take on a huge amount of risk, then you don't necessarily need to. So again, that's all those things are a part of that planning process, and a lot to factor in. So we go back to, if you're just hiring an advisor to get just a rate of return, we just seen these questions right here. There's so much more to it than just, what kind of rate of return you're going to give me. There's so much more to it. So a lot of factors involved, but yeah, definitely that last question is 100% all of the above, and then some, that we can add more to that.
Yeah, I always felt like it was a good fallback. If you weren't quite sure and you had that all of the above answer there, just go ahead and circle that one.
That's right.
Always a safe choice, but
That's right.
Hopefully that you got 5 for 5 on that. I mean, some of these were a little bit tricky, but again, if you aren't sure, if you don't know where to start a lot of times with some of these strategies and different aspects of planning, go ahead and set up a time to talk with Black Oak Asset Management. You can get in touch with Ryan again, speakwithryan.com. Very easy. Find a time that works for you. And again, if you want to request that book that goes through some of these things we talked about today and prepares you for that, diffuse the retirement threats, just go to blackoakam.com. You'll see the link there to go ahead and send your information over, and Ryan will get out a copy to you. But very helpful for you. But hopefully this kind of gets you thinking a little bit more about retirement planning. But we appreciate you watching the video. And if you haven't subscribed, please do that as well. We'd appreciate that support. Ryan, appreciate it. We'll see you again in the next video.
Absolutely.